And the Lord looked upon the regal alchemist with a full sack, who built himself in front of the same people who denied his godlike mastery, and he saw he was good. One thing that really differentiates the man with the full sack between everybody else is that he no longer is attached to the morality in which sex is usually viewed under. So if we look at how sex operates in our modern day and age, there's a lot of labels of degeneracy or of morality or what's traditional, or I've seen a lot of platitudes such as the no hymen, no diamond. And while these are understandable and understandable, the man with a full sack understands. And yes, we've got the full construction going on over there, but they aren't like being super loud with the beeps and everything, so it's manageable. But you know that if we're outside and there's the noise campaigns happening, it's a beautiful day on the Regal Change account here. So anyways, the man with the full sack sees sex as only degenerate if you view it as degenerate. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is that let's say you have a perverted dream, but you recognize that you labeled it perverted. You labeled that dream as perversion, okay? The thing that makes the full sack man different, the true full sack man, is that he no longer labels these things as certain whatevers. They're no longer degenerate, or they're no longer moral, or whatever. Preferences cease to exist for the man with a full sack. And why is that? Now, I'm not justifying women should be hoes, okay? I'm not justifying that at all. And I'm not justifying men should be homemakers, okay? I'm not justifying that at all either. What I'm saying is that you can live in a place in timelessness beyond these labels. And let's say you do have a dream. A lot of the men that I work with in my godlike mastery or my one-on-ones in the past, they've had a lot of these sexual dreams or hypersexual dreams in which women are trying to coerce them into being a certain way or doing certain things or whatever the case may be. Now, the antidote here is to recognize it for what it is, number one, and recognize that you're also labeling it in a certain way. There's internal friction going on between you. Now, this is what, like the man with the full sack has no internal friction. That's what makes his Rizz, you might say, so irresistible to women, because he's not trying to do anything with them. He just is who he is, and that's just this natural occurrence that happens where women are drawn to the man that really doesn't need them. In fact, people are really drawn to the people who don't need them, really. And yet there's also this like thin veil between love and hate. Like if there's a cougar out there and she wants your full sack energy, you have to see that you're the container of this energy, and she's trying to poke holes in the container. Now, this isn't always going to be the case, of course, but older women like younger men because of their vitality, okay, because of their ferociousness and their ability to generate velocity in life. And it is simply the case that the Rizz, or the charisma, or the ability to attract, you might say, is actually just a byproduct of who you are as a man with a full sack. So one of the people in the Regal Academy brought this up in a post recently, where they were talking about how there was a little bit more of a rumble, but they were talking about how men who are attracted, like who are insistent upon being attractive, are actually the most insecure. And this could not be any more true. It is the whole complete truth about attraction. If you're addicted to being attractive, that is insecurity. Now, this is one of the reasons why women are so insecure, and why the Rizz with the man with the full sack is going to work on most women, because you can kind of tell, once you get to a certain point, you can kind of tell which women have been neglected or not, let's say. And you don't want to use this, okay, don't use this for the dark side of the force. Okay, don't use this knowledge for the dark side of the force, because it is very dark, or at least it can be, depending on how you look at it again, right? See, this is why the Regal timeline theory, for those that are Regal Change old timers, you're very familiar with why it's important to distinguish between linear time and non-linear time. Because when you are living in non-linear time, you see people's traumas a little bit more. It's like there's a fascinating saying, I guess it's not really a saying, it's more of just an acknowledgement in the Hindu religion, where the guru sees your past, present, and future, because they are just so enveloped in the oneness of life and being one with God, the soul of existence, that they just can't help but see everything about you, and they know you before you know yourself. And the more that you work on yourself, and the more inner work you have to offer other people, the more this is going to be true. Why, you might ask? Well, it's simply because it's a byproduct of you being who you are. Your attractiveness, your charisma, your Rizz, as a man with a full sack, is not dependent on the magic line or what saying is going to get her in her pants or whatever. Like, it's not about that. It's not about that. And if you're insistent upon this, then you might be a little too focused on the attraction quality rather than embodying it as who somebody that you would want to be attracted to. So focus on the embodiment. Focus on the embodying. This is why at the very beginning I talked about the regal alchemist who mastered himself in godlike mastery and built himself in front of the people who tried to tear him down. Yeah, exactly. So that, like, the person who can build themselves into who they want to be, like, this is one of the reasons why I have my godlike mastery offer, is because I have made myself into the embodiment of godlike mastery. It's not to say that I don't have more to learn. It's not to say that I know everything. It's not to say that I am infallible. It's to simply say that I've acknowledged that I am one with the soul of existence. I and the soul of existence are one, and so are you. This is what it's acknowledging. So it's not about trying to get women. Okay, it's not about that, but it is going to be a byproduct. And a lot of men, if you do participate in celibacy or semen retention with the intent to get women or get finances or whatever, the probability that you're going to miss the entire point of what it is you're doing is very high. It's very high. The probability of you not understanding and understanding what it is that you're doing is very, very high. And so you're going to be so focused on trying to be irresistible to women that you're not even going to hear this message. Like, the people that are still watching this message right now, you can comment Rizz, because I know that you know what I'm actually talking about. You're actually listening to this. You're not just looking at the title, or you're not just like listening to the first 10 seconds and making a judgment call, because a lot of people will do that. Okay, a lot of people will do that. People want content that is easily digestible a lot of the time. But I am fortunate enough to have an audience who really values the depth, and they value the transformation over all of these other things that are going on in their life. They don't have the attention span of a goldfish. I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful that for most of the time, and most of the people that are in my community, the people that I work with in my godlike mastery, my one-on-ones, they are very much so capable of holding their attention span and investing attention rather than spending their time. So they invest understanding, they invest in themselves. And the more that you invest yourself, the more that you do the inner work yourself, naturally, the more that you're going to be inclined to see the beauty of life. And when you see the more beauty of life, when you integrate your anima, okay, because a part of having the full sack Rizz is an integrated anima. And I'm actually currently working on an integration of the anima and the animus class in the Regal Academy. I just completed a shadow class a few weeks ago, but I've recognized that this is going to be very, very important in the upcoming months and years for people to have access to learning how to embody this stuff, because it's not about like, if you just learn for knowledge's sake, it's not going to do much. But if you learn to implement, there's going to be a whole dichotomy that's going to be broken inside you. That internal resistance is going to be absent. Which brings me to a potent point, because a lot of people who view sex as a morality-based thing have a lot of internal resistance. And I know this because I myself was that way. I'm not saying that you should go out and fornicate. I'm not saying that you should go out and just do whatever you want. What I'm saying is that you can step out and you can simply be the observer. You don't have to pay attention. You can invest attention. And you can let go of trying to be right about all of these moral things, because the best way that I know that somebody's wrong, even if I don't fully understand or understand what they're talking about, the best way that I know that they don't actually understand what they're saying is they say, well, you're wrong because you're wrong. It's like, yeah, I don't care to listen to you. That's a perspective in a symbolic narrative structure at that point. That's not an actual, a pointing in the right direction. That's a well, I'm this and you're that. Okay, says you. Like, these kinds of people are not to be taken seriously. So the thing is also is that with the Rizz, you might have to realize your own power. Like, the primal aspects of you are going to be highly enveloped in yourself, let's say. And when you're highly enveloped in the primal aspects of yourself, you might not know how to contain it properly. You might not know how to be a vessel properly, because essentially you'd be, it'd be like trying to rebuild a road with a Prius, and you're trying to like take up the asphalt with a Prius and all that. You can't really do it. You can't really reconstruct your internal architecture with a Prius. But what you can do is you can restructure your internal architecture with a tractor, or with a bigger truck, or whatever the case may be, right? You need the right kind of vessel. So you have to create that vessel internally and then adapt to it so that you can actually be the container for that energy, because it's going to be a lot. It just simply is going to be a lot. You might not even know how you're doing it. I know I've had experience with this. I don't even know I'm doing Rizz, or I'm having Rizz, or whatever you want to call it, right? However you want to say it. I don't even realize that I have Rizz until I'm like, oh shoot, she was like, she was like liking what I was saying, if you know what I'm talking about. And again, this is not like a flex. This is just a happenstance of where you are. But the issue is as I mentioned in my last video, I guess it's not really an issue. See, there's the labeling again. It's not really an issue, but it's just like something you have to recognize is most women are just not ready. And most of you, men, are not ready. And that's what a lot of men don't want to admit. They're so bitter. What I realized in this video that I did yesterday, because about 75% of the comments were very positive and affirming and supportive, and I'm appreciative of that. And then about 25% of the comments, I could tell exactly who has not integrated their anima, because they were so dependent upon like women being alone, like the idea that women need to be alone and sharing their pain. It's like, dude, you have not looked inside yourself. You have not done internal reconstruction. And that's okay. It's okay. Just recognize that bitterness and move forward with it. You know, just don't hold on to it. Because I heard somebody at the gym today said that anger is an underrated emotion. And I would say to a degree that's true, but I really disagree fundamentally. And here's why. Anger is learned. Anger is learned. You don't really, when you're a pure soul, when you're a pure spirit, anger ceases to exist. You just give it up. Give it up. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to experience anger at times, but you can just give up anger. You can just give it up. And it's okay. And I think that's another big thing about the full sack Rizz being irresistible, is that women they feel comfortable with not being able to figure you out, and yet that makes them uncomfortable, and that's why they want to figure you out. Mysterious. The mysterious Rizz of the man with the full sack. But anyways, I hope that this video was useful and insightful for you, and I hope everybody stays blessed. Peace. Until next time.